Now the bid is on the table and Man United are officially part of this conversation, but Manchester United feel that Šeško was waiting for them. And this is why they decided to enter into action and to send that proposal. One of the reasons why they decided to send that proposal. So now the battle is really ongoing. With 2 bids on the table, we have to test the patience of Newcastle, who have obviously spent many days waiting for Benjamin Šeško to decide, putting on the table a very big proposal, putting on the table for the player a very big contract. So Newcastle absolutely remain at the table at the moment, but they want an answer as soon as possible. After what happened with Ekitike, who was close to Newcastle and then joined Liverpool, after what happened with Brian Mbeumo earlier in the window, after what happened with Joe Pedro, who was a target for Newcastle and decided to go to Chelsea, they want an answer from Benjamin Šeško. They want to resolve this situation as soon as possible. So that's the point. Also important to mention, guys, that obviously this point for Newcastle will be really important to understand also the future of Alexander Isak, because Alexander Isak and Liverpool deal is on hold in this moment, waiting for Newcastle to communicate. If Newcastle sign Benjamin Šeško, it can be way easier for Liverpool to return to the table, bid and get Alexander Isak. Because if Šeško goes to Newcastle, for sure Liverpool will be back at the table and will bid again for Isak. Despite they told you they will not bid anymore. They will bid if Newcastle open the doors. But if Benjamin Šeško goes to Manchester United and Man United feel internally that he's waiting for them, well, in that case, obviously for Newcastle it could be different. They will look for a new striker on the market, but to find a striker now, almost 23 days to the end of the transfer window, and to find him to replace a top player like Alexander Isak is not going to be something easy. So let's see what's going to happen there. But now Manchester United at the table with a big proposal. Now, crucial factors. The first one, what the player will decide to do, because Benjamin Šeško at the moment has not communicated, okay, I only want to go to that club. Man United believe that he's waiting for them, because they see that at the moment the deal with Newcastle is not closed, and this is why Man United believe that he's waiting for them, but at the moment still waiting for a formal communication from Benjamin Šeško. On the other side, Red Bull Leipzig, because Leipzig are in control of the situation. Now, with 2 bids on the table, 90 million euros, Manchester United with 75 plus 10, Newcastle with 80 plus 10. So Leipzig obviously are enjoying this situation. It's a bidding war, it's a big saga, the player is still not officially exposed, so Newcastle are quite happy with this situation. Now it's gonna be really important to understand the timing of all parties involved. If Newcastle will decide to stay in this race, wait for Šeško, or to leave the table. And then, if Manchester United can get to the number.
But it must be breaking news.
I've got to go to breaking news.
Interrupt me for breaking news.
I've got to go to breaking news. Yeah, and it's from our reporter, Vinny O'Connor at Liverpool. Vinny, what can you tell us?
OK, to what's been a very significant day so far. 3 big updates for you as well. Manchester United in advanced talks with Leipzig over a deal for Benjamin Šeško, and Liverpool have agreed to sell Darwin Núñez. And the breaking news in the last half an hour relates to Alexander Isak. So let's get straight to Keith Downey, shall we? Keith, really good to see you. I know you've been in touch with this story throughout this ongoing saga. We're up to another incident, another chapter of this debacle. Bring us exactly up to date about what is happening here with Alexander Isak.
Yeah, debacle is the first time I've heard that word, but it's actually quite a good description, Jess, I have to say. 2 players' names that you mentioned there, Darwin Núñez and Benjamin Šeško, are all linked to this, or potentially linked to this Alexander Isak situation. Of course, this all started a couple of weeks ago when Alexander Isak failed to travel with the Newcastle first team squad on their pre-season tour of Asia. He then decided to have a solo trip to Spain with his own backroom staff, his own individual staff, and get some rehab and some training there, really against the wishes of Eddie Howe and his backroom team at Newcastle. Eddie Howe said he found out about that trip through the media, so the optics of that weren't good. As we know, Isak returned on Saturday to the northeast. The Newcastle first team squad returned on Monday. They were given yesterday off and they're back in training just a couple of hundred yards over to my right hand side this morning. Eddie Howe has decided that he wants to have a kind of gathering, friends and family bonding session at the training ground today. So once the players finish training, which is just about now, I think, the players' families and children, wives, partners are all invited into the training ground for lunch and activities for the kids, just to try and ensure that everyone is together. Now, this isn't a new thing, they have it quite often here at Newcastle, but I think the timing of it interesting, given everything that's going on with Benjamin Sesko and Alexander Isak. But interestingly, Isak has been told to report once the gathering has ended. So he's to report late afternoon here to the training ground, where he will receive treatment and maybe train on his own as the first part of, I guess, trying to reintegrate him into the squad, because he's been posted missing for the best part of the last 2 weeks. So interesting that wasn't Alexander Isak's decision. That was the decision of the manager Eddie Howe and the club, that Isak should turn up later on today once the rest of the players and their families have left.
OK, Keith, thank you for that update. But this comes, of course, as Newcastle seem to be losing out in the race for Benjamin Sesko. Is that the case? And how much would that add to this sense of frustration around this current transfer window?
Yeah, look, it's been a frustrating summer for Eddie Howe, for the players, I think, as well, who wanted to see new players arrive and help, because they've got Champions League season coming up. We've only seen Anthony Elanga and Aaron Ramsdale on loan so far, but more than anything, the supporters who were expecting a number of signings this summer. This was the summer when Newcastle were supposed to strengthen, and as we know now, they've gone for a number of players and just missed out on pretty much everyone they've gone for, bar Ramsdale and Elanga. You know, the likes of João Pedro and Liam Delap, who have gone to Chelsea. If Manchester United get Benjamin Sesko over the line, their front three next season, Mbeumo, Sesko and Cunha, are three players that Newcastle liked and certainly tried and got far on with two of them in the shape of Sesko and Mbeumo. So by my last count, there was 8 players that Newcastle have just missed out on. So it's been a bruising summer for them. Really difficult to take, and I think this will be the hardest one of all, seeing Benjamin Sesko join Manchester United, and it feels as though that one is probably 75% done. It feels as though that is the direction, although Newcastle haven't had a direct rejection from either Leipzig or the player. It sounds from all the noises we're hearing that Sesko prefers a move to Manchester United over Newcastle, and that despite Newcastle's offer for the player being more than what Manchester United put on the table.